dear friends.
Hi!
We are back today with the book
Message from a Teen in the Spirit's World through
Chico
Xavier, through Chico Xavier by the Spirit Neio
Neio Lucio.
Lucio.
Yes. And today we're going to start this book. Last week we did the introduction, the message from the Spirit Neio Lucio. And today
last one we did message right here.
Yes.
And today we are doing this one.
Yes. The start of the message. There we go. Okay. You can start.
It starts with Dear. Oh, yeah. Wait. It starts with Impressions of my last day on earth. Dear Dersia, I'm writing you this letter to let you know that I didn't really die. I never believed it would be possible to send you news after I left my body behind back there on the earth. I remember how we sometimes used to observe the funeral processions of children and adults from the big window in our bedroom, when in silence we watched sad hearse go by, decorated with flowers and carrying someone who would never come back. Do you remember when Usorio, our classmate, died? I have never forgotten that heartbreaking scene. His mother, Donna Margarita, led us in tears to view his body, once playful and kind. Usorio was now mute and cold. He looked like he was sleeping, unmoving under a pile of roses and memories. When I heard that we would never come back, my heart raced and I went pale. Old Thomas, the doorman who works at the school, was watching the scene. He understood what was happening and whisked me away. He didn't I didn't eat at all that day and spent the night scared stuff. I bothered my dad with all sorts of questions about death, and he gave me goosebumps with his answers. He finally saw how upset I was and advised me to avoid the subject. A lot of time went by, but then that experience kept a place in my heart. Perhaps that is why I was so impatient and troubled during the time of my sickness. And to be honest with you, I was really afraid when I realized it was all about to end. Because I had always heard that the death of the body is the end of everything.
Mm.
Now, however, I can tell you that that is not true at all. Do you remember my last day at home? Mom was crying so much. Dad was really
concerned
and was
pacing
pacing back and forth in the room next to ours. Our good friend, Dr. Martino, held my hands and you were sitting in Grandma's
easy
chair looking at me
anxiously
and sadly. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. I was
tired.
I was tired, but didn't know why. I couldn't get my breath, as if I was a fish out of water. I made an effort to say something to put Mom at ease. At least, but there was
an
enormous weight pressing down on my throat and mouth. I then fixed my eyes on yours and cried a lot because I was afraid
of becoming
mute and cold like
Soria.
Leaving never to return again. I couldn't move my lips, but in my mind I prayed the
prayers
that Mom had taught me. I remember God and for waited for sleep with
unspeakable anguish.
I wanted to sleep
a lot.
I wanted to sleep a lot. But my fear of sleeping and not waking up was so great that if I could have, I would have screamed really loudly with all my strength left in my lungs,
pleading
with Dr.
Martina
not to let me die.
Sure. And what do you think about this chapter, about the start of this letter and his experience of dying?
The first one, when he says, I didn't really die.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I didn't really die is we didn't really die. Like in last week's chapter, there is no death. There is only living.
Yes. So he is starting his letter by telling his brother that he didn't leave. He's still alive.
Yeah, with the first words, I'm writing you this letter to let you know I didn't really die.
Yes. So that is the first one. Then he's explaining his experience of dying.
Yeah.
And what he sees around him, the actions of everyone around him, his mother, his father, his brother.
Yeah, like on the second page, his mom is crying, his dad is
pacing up and down.
on
Nobody
the floor.
is comforting Are they praying together?
No.
Yes, and that's the thing. He remembered that his mother did um,
Did
teach him.
pray.
Yes,
Did pray
so
to,
that helped him. And so he thought about God and he knew that there was something, so he needed to pray. But according to his understanding, which his parents imprinted on him, there was no afterlife. He will die and then he's gone. And
yeah,
that was his understanding of death.
that's what he thought, but then he thought there's no death actually.
And that made him anxious while he was dying. And
Yeah, he was so afraid to sleep.
yes,
And that's why in last week's episode, not episode, last week's
chapter,
we said never be afraid to die. Dying is a good thing. And there's no dying, remember?
yes. And then he says that his experience of his friend that died, that they didn't help him understand death during that tragic time for him when his friend died.
Yeah, only
And
Dr.
it was
Martino,
actually distressing for him to see all that and to go through that. And that is why he was anxious when he was dying.
Yeah, Dr. Martino tried to help by holding his hands.
Yes, but it's because the lack of understanding for his parents as well. The lack of understanding, and this is why education, and this is why we are sharing this book with everyone. Yeah, why are we sharing this book? To help people understand that there is no dying. And to understand what happens to someone when they die and their experience through death and what our work is, our responsibility towards someone as well and towards ourselves so that we can help each other understand and learn together.
Yeah.
And Carlos is going to help us with that.
Yeah.
Yes. So next week we're going to do the next chapter.
Aunt Eunice.
Yes.
Next
Can't wait.
chapter. Aunt
Yes.
Eunice,
No.
where he goes to Aunt Eunice.
No, we'll see next week. Yes, this book wants us to read everything at once, but we'll take our time and talk about it. Please share your comments if there's anything that you can help so that we can talk together. That will be very helpful. Thank you so much for joining us, beloved friends. Until next week, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.